Los Angeles Police Department, and then we show that her and Mr. Putnam did. And, you know, whatever is convenient is what they're going to write down. And yesterday, I think, counsel said a lot of things that weren't in the evidence, but I only objected when he was way over the line, and the court sustained that. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to attack counsel, because it's not about me. It's not about Mr. Putnam. It's not about Ms. Cahan, Ms. Bina. They're all fine lawyers. And if some lawyer has a better tie, you like them, or some lawyer smiles at you, or some, that's not a reason to make your decision, because you're going to do a disservice to yourself, to the system, and everyone else. You need to make your decision based on the evidence in this case. And what I'm going to try to do with you is just to correct a few of the misstatements, but believe me, there were plenty. I'm not going to attack counsel. He's an advocate trying to do the best he can for his client. I don't have a script written out. I'm not going to stand behind a podium and read to you for 4 hours. I'm going to tell you from the heart what I believe the evidence has shown in this case. I'm not going to give you part of a document. I'm going to lay it out for you how I believe the evidence has proved that AEG Live is responsible, shared responsibility. That's what I talked to you about. And you know, when you talk about personal responsibility, there's 3 things to personal responsibility. Number 1, you have to accept it. Number 2, you have to, if you're going to walk the walk, or excuse me, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And number 3, don't dare you do anything to get in the way of someone that's trying to deal with personal responsibility. And in this case, AEG has violated all 3 of the principles of personal responsibility. Number 1, before you point the finger, you got to look in the mirror at yourself. AEG looks in the mirror at themselves, and they say, everything we did is fine. And they want you to believe Mr. Gongaware and Mr. Phillips' story in this trial. And one of the most important decisions in your life, they want you to base it on those 2 people, Mr. Gongaware and Mr. Phillips, and disregard all of the other evidence. Number 2, they never walked the walk. They did a lot of talking. They never walked the walk. They didn't admit anything. And number 3, how dare them come up here and accept no responsibility and put it all on Michael, Mrs. Jackson, Karen Fay, Elif Sankey, everybody but them. And when you're pointing the finger at someone, you got 4 fingers pointing back at yourself. And responsibility, it doesn't stop at the boardroom. Corporate responsibility is supposed to carry out throughout our society. In the social order, corporations have a right to go out and make money. And that's okay. But when you make money and you're in the money-making business, and make no mistake about it, AEG is in the money-making business. And when you're in the money-making business, there are certain responsibilities imposed on you by the law. And when you get involved in a situation like this, you have responsibilities. They're not imposed by me. They're imposed by the law in the state of California, and you're responsible socially and legally to act appropriately. And what they did, they didn't act appropriately. And let me start off a little bit. First, by the way, I'm not going to talk all day. I'm going to get done. But, you know, yesterday I saw you were very attentive, and I appreciate that with Mr. Putnam, and writing down things, and I wanted to jump up and say, that's not right. So I'd please ask if you could look. I'm going to try to give you exactly what you need when you go through the process and reason together to come to a fair and just verdict based on the evidence in the law. Okay? So let's talk about some of the things that AEG's counsel said yesterday. Number 1, all they were trying to do was put on a concert. That kind of encapsulates that's all they're about. Putting on a concert, making money. They don't care about Michael Jackson. They don't care about Kenny Ortega. They don't care about Dr. Murray. He said it. He admitted it because it's true. All they're about is putting on a concert, deriving the benefits. And remember, Michael died. They got all their money back. And then they made a movie and more. They came out fine. They were trying to enhance their reputation, and we'll look at that, to compete, and they want to deny it, Mr. Phillips, with the 800-pound gorilla that he calls it. But make no mistake, AEG is a money-making company, and they wanted to make money. They wanted Michael to make, they didn't want to help Michael do a comeback. They wanted Michael so they could make money. And that's why they did it. So let's look at this. Another statement by counsel. This case is about choices we make. They made choices. Personal responsibility. What about corporate responsibility? What about Mr. Phillips and Mr. Gongor? Where are they? Mr. Trell, he's the corporate lawyer. He's here. Where have they been? Have you seen them? Do you think that they really care about this case based on their attitude when they testified and how they testified? Do you really think, are they worthy of belief in this case? Are you going to give a verdict based on what Mr. Gongaware and Mr. Phillips testified, self-serving statements? Are you going to do that? Are you going to let them get away with this? Because they think that they can come down here, big bad AEG, and we have an army of lawyers, 7 or 8 people. They got rows of them. You've seen them all. If we got the Army, they got the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the National Guard, all of them. They got them all. And I'll get up to court. They got 3 of them objected at the same time. Who's trying to bring the whole truth to you? Is it AEG? Or do they think they can convince you it's all Michael? Michael's a bad person. He took Demerol in 1993. You know, he did this in 2002. Okay? They want you to not like Michael. Okay? Is that what this case is about? That you don't like Michael? And they bring up, he was charged criminally, and he had this, and he didn't have any money, and all that. What does that have to do with AEG negligently hiring, retaining, or supervising Dr. Murray? What does it have to do with it? Nothing. Next. I told you at the beginning of the case, it's a case about shared responsibility, okay? We're not running from it. Michael paid the ultimate price. He's not here anymore, okay? Sure, he took propofol. But remember, every time he took propofol, he didn't die until one thing happened. An unfit and incompetent doctor in a conflict of interest situation did it in an inappropriate setting. Okay? So, he died from propofol from Dr. Murray. There's no question about that. But he's paid the ultimate price. His family has admitted that he has some responsibility, and that's for you to determine. But they accept no responsibility. Dr. Murray, we know he's been held responsible. He's been determined what he did. He's paying his price. But they want to skate right free, get all their money back, come here and say, hey, we know the jury. They're not going to do it, man. We're AEG Live. We can do this. They're not going to impose liability on us. Because look at Michael Jackson. Oh, look at his mom. She wrote a letter to People magazine. She's a terrible person. That's what they want you to do. They say, oh, just answer that question no, and you could go home. Because they don't want you to look at all the evidence and all of the law after 5 months. They want you to go and say, oh, we didn't hire him. See you later. Despite the fact that the CEO said it before there are any lawyers, before there are any lawsuits, when he knew there was no written contract within days of Michael Jackson's death. But we're not to believe that. And I'll get to that, okay? So come on. I mean, they think they can hoodwink you. I mean, that's why we're here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. All right. And AEG, they're the only ones that accepted no responsibility. Now, let's talk about corporate responsibility. That's just as important as personal responsibility. And today in our society, when it says people don't take responsibility for their acts, how about corporations? Do you think that they're all taking responsibility for their acts? Do you think that's happening in today's society? The only way that the Jackson family can be on equal footing with AEG Live is in the jury system. We can't compete with them, their size, all the people they have. The only way is 12 people fairly picked. And think about it. When you came down here and you got that summons, did you think you were going to be on this jury to decide this case? No way. Some of you gave up assignments. You've missed vacations. You've had to change your whole life. You came down here, you go, okay, I'm going to come down. I'm a good citizen. I'm going to do it. But did you think you signed up for this? Nobody did, okay? But did any one of you try to get off and leave? No. You know why? because you believe in the system, even though it caused personal hardship to each and every one of you. And I appreciate that. But this is the only place there's a level playing field where Michael's children and mother can be on an even, level playing field with AEG. This is it.
Improper to appeal to the size or corporate status of a defendant in closing argument.
And there we go. Who's bringing you the truth?
Overruled.
You know, see, like I told you, who's bringing you the whole truth, okay? You saw it throughout the trial. How many, 3 lawyers objecting at the same time, sidebar, don't do that, you can't do that, you know. Come on. Sit over there, read the objections. It's on another script. That's what this is. They prepared, with the jury consultants been here every day, you saw it from the beginning. Okay, this is a scripted performance by AEG Live that they want to get away with it. Okay, that's what it is. And you heard Mr. George, the last witness. I called him and asked him. He said corporate responsibility and accountability are very important issues in this society today. And they are. And that's what you're going to assess. And personal responsibility, okay? It's important. But what? It doesn't apply to corporations? Corporations are made up of people. So what is the truth here, really? The truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Remember, we only have to prove this by more likely than not. Okay? Oh, this is Mr. AEG Live lawyer. All those emails, trust me, there are a lot of emails. I'd love to have them not be here, okay? Oh, we just gladly turned them over. They didn't gladly turn them over. We had to get a court order to get those emails. They weren't voluntarily producing anything in this case. You saw how they've defended this case. But they want you to believe what Gongaware and Phillips said, not what they wrote in the emails. Okay? Thousands, tens of thousands of emails. Where are all those emails that say something different? Where are they? That's another lawyer-created defense, part of the script. And they're hoping you go for it. I want you to, if you could, write, these are what I consider the key emails in the case. First, per our agreement, I'll show you, that's Dr. Murray saying there's an agreement. Trouble at the front, we all know. You guys probably know these better than I do, but trouble at the front, and there's numerous chains. We check everyone out. Remind him who's paying him. Okay, I didn't write these emails. These aren't my arguments. These are written before there's any lawsuit, before Michael is dead, before the lawyers are involved. Am I blocking you again? Sorry. That Murray and Phillips are in charge of rehearsals. I didn't do that. They did that. That Michael's thin and skeletal. I didn't write that. They did. That he's a freak. I love that. And I'm going to get back to that. Mr. Trell and his other lawyer friend referred to Michael Jackson, who they're entering into a multi-million-dollar contract with to build up their arena, as a freak. That's how they think about him. Did you hear an apology from anyone about that? Did you hear Mr. Trell get up here all the days he's been here and say, you know what, we didn't really mean to say that was not a nice thing? He never said that. He tried to defend it to the end. Michael Jackson's a freak. He should be ashamed of himself. They're not, though. This is the man you want to remember. They're a money-making machine. Freak, whatever. That, they don't care. They don't care about the person. They don't care about the individual. All they care is how much money is this freak going to make for them. That's what they're all about. Stahl, Dr. Murray, gross versus net. Okay? I'm going to read them off. You got them, right? You're probably tired of looking at those. But I think they say it all. And remember, these are all written by AG, and of course, none of them even remember writing these. And 10,000 emails. You think that if a guy got an email that the star of the show, who they couldn't do the show without, that had 35 million in it, they might remember writing the email? Maybe? Come on. What are they trying to do? They're trying to hoodwink you. Okay? You're going to go for it? Michael's a bad person. Michael chose a doctor. We'll get to that. But these are their emails, not mine, not my arguments. I didn't hear them explain any of those ways. They don't want to bring up the freak. They don't want to bring up we check everyone out and explain that on Kathy Jury's 10-minute Google search? Where's the email on that? It's not right, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not responsible, and it's not right, and it wouldn't be the right thing to believe Gongaware and Phillips and allow them to skate down the street and click the champagne glasses down at AEG Live. Okay, this is an important instruction because this is instruction on witnesses. You can believe all or part or none of a witness's testimony. You decide that, not me, not them, you. You saw them. You have common sense. I mean, some people have children, and your children tells you something. You know whether they're being truthful or not. People deal with, you're trying to buy a car, and they're working. You know whether they're telling you the truth or not. You know what somebody at work is telling you the truth. You know if a player is telling you the truth or not. I mean, we don't have a film of everything, but we got emails. Okay? You decide. And what's the reason? Miss Jory, why would she have any tendency not to tell the truth? Well, we brought the police officer to show that because her firm, the biggest client, they're getting all this money from AEG Life. Do you think she might want to shade it a little bit for AEG? Just a little? Come on. And if a witness testified deliberately untruthfully, you can choose not to believe anything. Like Miss Jory, I never told the police officer that. Okay, I'll bring him in. I did. We'll see that. Now, they want to call this the Brady Bunch. Well, I'm glad Marcia Brady's not here. She'd be not upset about that. I mean, they think that's funny. Over there smirking, that's funny. That's not funny, okay? Is that bringing the whole truth? What we have here is just some of the answers that were played at trial. Just some of these individuals that they want you to rely upon in this case. And they think it's funny. It's funny. Ha! Oh, that's the Brady Bunch. Ha, ha, ha. I don't think it's funny, and I don't think you think
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember this email.
I don't remember receiving this email.
I do not remember the specific email.
I'm not going to go through every one of them. That gives you a little flavor. Those are the people that they want you to base your verdict on. Is that bringing you the whole truth? Oh, AEG, we want the whole truth. Really? Really? Come on. Mr. Phillips, what's his main job? To protect the financial interest of the company. That's his job. He's concerned about it. Why would he deny all of this information? Ask yourself, why would somebody in a deposition under oath and in court deny that they knew anything about something? Wouldn't you think if you're the CEO, and it's not like some underling wrote the emails, he wrote the emails. It's not like somebody working underneath you wrote it and you were CC'd, you might have. He wrote the emails. Gongaware wrote the emails. Then he says, companies are people. We make mistakes. No kidding. Okay? They're people. They don't want to accept zero responsibility. Then he said, I asked them, did you rely on your attorneys to prepare for your depositions? No, I didn't. I didn't prepare for it. Wow. So here you are in the Michael Jackson case. You're not going to just prepare. You're a CEO of a large company. Then I said, so you just figured it wasn't necessary? No, you were too. And then he says, I didn't feel, they felt, my lawyers, that it would be better if I went in without doing any preparation with them. Is that looking for the whole truth, ladies and gentlemen? Did they stand up here and tell you they want the whole truth, yet they tell the key witnesses, all you got to do is run a search for emails of Murray, you're going to get them. There's only so many. I just said there's like 9 key emails. And they're going to tell a witness to come to your deposition and don't be prepared. And is that someone that is trying to give you the whole truth? Come on. You're not going to fall for that. And Mr. Gongaware, same thing. Do you think it was in your best interest when preparing for your testimony under oath in this case in December not to review any emails and not remember about them? Answer, I relied on my attorney's advice. So yes, I think it was in my best interest. So it was the best interest of him and AEG Live to remember nothing. Is that someone that wants to bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, the whole truth? I don't remember anything. Come on. Then, deposition that we played is substantive evidence. It's the same as if you're testifying in court. It has no difference. And they know that. This is a big law firm. They're experienced lawyers. They know that if you testify one way and you change it, you're going to be impeached and you're not going to be credible. But they chose to go that route. They chose to go that route. And why do you think they would do that? How about this one? I love this one. Mr. Begley, remember he comes in here and I ask him, all right, so come on. In your opinion, is Celine Dion a bigger artist than Michael Jackson? In my opinion, Celine Dion is right up there with Michael Jackson, yes. And to me, she is bigger. Now, it's not that big a deal in this case, right? But this shows you, and I'm going to show you, how far they will go to say what's convenient to them when they think it hurts them. And how about this? Do you have to remember the truth? Is the truth something that you have? Hold on, let me remember what the truth is. I don't remember that. But then you remember certain. Is it hard to remember what the truth is? Or is it hard to remember what your story is going to be? On Michael Jackson, who's not looking good, who's having problems, people are telling you he's dying, and you're not going to remember? You know, what do they say about he who seeks to deceive, what a tangled web they weave? Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
AEG felt that the right thing for Michael to do was to go out and play public again and kind of reclaim his throne as the greatest live entertainment of all time.
Greatest entertainment of all time, but Celine Dion's bigger. That's what they said in the This Is It movie. By the way, they made the movie, and I'm going to show you, but they want you to rely on something they made after the fact, stories that their executives made up after they testified one way. Okay? How about this one? Mr. Meglin, was it, demand for This Is It, better than the demand for any other show you've ever seen in your life? Answer, I mean, it was no. We sold as many tickets on Voodoo Lounge in one day. In terms of the number of tickets sold in a day, sure, we've done those kind of numbers before. Okay, so that would lead you to believe not a huge deal, right? Okay, is that a reasonable interpretation? Okay, it was good, but not the best, right? What does he say? Before there's any lawsuits, before there's any lawyers. This is what he says at trial. What does he say in the movie?
This was at a stratospheric level. This was at a level that we had never seen before.
Stratospheric level that we've never seen before. They say, this is all filmed before. Now he's got a different tune. Are you going to believe him? Mr. Phillips. This is what Mr. AEG Live lawyer told us. Randy Phillips is a schmoozer, artist relations. It's because he loves music. He loves the music business. He loves the artists and he loves shows. That's how they portrayed him at the beginning in his opening statement. Remember that? Okay, that's what he said. Let's see what Mr. Phillips said when I asked him that. I don't particularly love music. That's not why I got into it. I love the deal. I love the money. I love the deal. Music, artists? Did he say I want to help artists? I really love music. Did he say that? No way. Because he doesn't. You saw him. He doesn't care. You saw his attitude when he was testifying. Come on. They want to say I made fun of him. You know what? I don't believe anything he said. And he was impeached more than many witness. And
on their own personal beliefs.
that's what he was doing all day yesterday.
Sustained.
Okay. You shouldn't believe anything he says. And that's funny. They think it's all funny, right? This is the CEO of their company. That's funny to have your CEO come up there and not remember anything. That's funny, and somebody that died. Is that funny? I don't think you think it is, ladies and gentlemen. Who's bringing you the whole truth here? They say whatever they can whenever it's convenient. Let's take a look. They want you to say, oh, watch the movie. It proves everything, right? The movie. Who made the movie? AEG Live. Who produced the movie? AEG Live. It'll be right in there. You'll see it. Okay, let's look at this first one right here. Randy Phillips. Make sure we take out the shots of MJ in the red leather jacket at the soundstage where the mini movies were being filmed. He looks way too skeletal. Does that say that he knew or should have known something about MJ's condition? That's Exhibit 638-115. Okay? Does the movie accurately portray Michael that they want you to rely on? Let's look at the next one. Mr. Ortega, I asked him, sir, you were involved in reviewing the footage, and I think you called it editing. Yes. When you edited the film was not intended to show how Michael was performing during the rehearsal, was it? My goal was to edit together the pieces to help tell a story of what Michael's goals were. And this is at page 98, 92 to 98, 93 of Mr. Ortega's testimony. So then he says, what his goals for This Is It were? No, sorry. Was the film itself intended? Was the intention of the film to show how Michael was performing during the rehearsals? Okay? They want you to say, look, see how great he is? And look what he said. That wasn't my intention as a filmmaker. I mean, of course, I wanted Michael to look great always. So they want you to look at an edited version with dubbed sound to say, see, he was fine on something that they made. Let's continue to look. Here's another one. This is what they don't want you to see. This is after the fact, Mr. Gongaware, about interviews. We're okay with the band, singers, and dancers doing interviews now. The only thing we ask is that they keep it positive and stress that MJ was active, engaged, and not the emaciated person some people want to paint him as being. They don't want the truth. You got to give a positive. They're controlling people all the time because that's what they do. That's exhibit. Anyway, I mean, come on. I didn't write these emails. And Miss Fay, we asked, were you involved? Yes. What was your understanding of what was being asked to do? To come and help retouch the footage. Did you do that? No, sir, I didn't. Why not? It was a lie. I didn't want to lie, sir. What do you mean? Everybody was lying after he died, sir. That Michael was well, and everyone knew he wasn't. And I felt retouching Michael was just part of that lie. So they want you to rely on something that they edited, that they try to make Michael look as good as he could, that wasn't intended to show how he was performing, to prove that he was fine. Is that bringing you the whole truth? How about this? Another thing they don't want to talk about. This is from Randy. Or, hi, Randy, Karen Fay. I don't know who the video crew was at rehearsals, but I saw them shooting Michael at his worst on the day he was shuffling and wrapped in a blanket. I told Kenny to make sure they wouldn't shoot him like that, be sure he wasn't aware they were shooting him, and would be careful in the future. It's disconcerting that footage exists. Karen wanted Michael to look good. She wasn't trying to prepare for a lawsuit. And what does Kenny say? What does Randy Phillips say? We control all the footage, and it's locked in a vault at Staples Center. Did he say, no, we're going to do an accurate depiction. We're going to show when he's wrapped in blankets, when he wasn't doing good. Did he say that? No. He says, we control it all, and it's locked in a vault. There it is. We control it all. It's locked in a vault. Does that sound like people that are trying to bring you the whole truth? AEG, we want the whole truth. We were not afraid of the truth. Okay. Actions speak a lot louder. That footage didn't make it in the movie. And Michael doesn't look good in the movie anyway. But they want to think you're going to buy that. All right. Then I asked Mr. Phillips, did Michael ever perform the whole show? No. He never sang all the show's dance? No. He wouldn't have. They weren't ready for that. So as of the time he died, week and a half, 2 weeks before they go to London. He wasn't even ready to go through the show. But they kept pushing forward and pushing forward. Evaluate whether AEG acted negligently only in connection with plaintiff's claims AEG hired, supervised, or retained. That's a legal duty imposed by the law. But they say we don't do it, so we don't have to follow the law because we're AEG. We don't have any duty to do that. But that's not what the law says. They're trying to tell you things that just aren't true. Here's another one. Mr. Panish, this is 50 times they said. My mom she never called me Mr., but she would call me a lot, but not nicely. But Mr. Panish told you yesterday that figure $59 million. He said that a couple times. That was made up. He made it up, okay? I made it up, right? I made it up. That's what he told you. Y'all wrote it down. Not all. You, a lot of you wrote it down. I saw it. I wanted to jump up. What could I do? Well, let's see what the evidence is. Do you remember that guy, Mr. Ackerman? They paid about $900,000 to who I said, okay, Mr. Ackerman, let's get you your figures, and I want you to do some calculations. Or I don't have my calculator. I can't do it. I'm not ready to do that. Dr. Formousas could do it, but I don't know. I can't do that. I don't know, right? Well, here's the evidence. What he says, he made it up. Now, hey, I'm big. I can protect myself. But that's not right for the family to be making attacks on the lawyers saying they're making things up in court. Come on. Does that bring you the whole truth? Here it is. Exhibit 1960, and there are 3 exhibits of his calculations, $12,874,000, $15,618,000, $15,572,000, $15,810. Check it out. Check me out on that, okay? He called me a liar. No, Your Honor,
No, there's an objection.
It's error to argue against the law, and he's talking about undiscounted figures, which
No, it's not.
they're been instructed not to consider.
Your Honor, it's improper.
Is this in evidence?
Yes.
Okay, overruled.
Yes, it's in evidence. I just made it up. Poof. Poof.
Exhibit 12960.
And there's 3 of them. 153, 160, 157, 008. Poof. Just made it up. Who's bringing you the truth, ladies and gentlemen? Okay? I know I'm getting at him. I have passion. I'm sorry, but it's not fair to attack someone, a lawyer that's being an advocate for a client, and say they made it up. And all. It's just not true. They'll say anything when it's convenient, okay? Go look at those exhibits. You add it up, and you see if I made it up or not. Okay? You add it up. I just made it up. Poof. There it is, 59,874. Next. And I say this because I remember all the important things he got wrong yesterday. Mr. Irk getting his numbers from AEG. He didn't. Another attack. Everybody wrote it down. Not everybody. People wrote that down, right? Okay? What is the truth? Here it is right here. AEG Live did the projections, $108 a ticket. Mr. Irk, $108 a ticket. 1.6 shows a week. And here's the testimony. Briggs, testimony, 1.6 shows a week, both of them. Attendance, 55,000 for Briggs, 49,000 for Irk. These figures, AEG. Okay? And I'm going to talk about that for a minute here. They say, he was never going to do a world tour. Well, on one hand, they say he's going to die, but then they want to say he's going to do a 10-year world tour. First of all, this is not a 10-year world tour. It's 37 months. Okay? So that's another misstatement. But if Michael Jackson had proper care, remember, he was fine When they met him, he did the physical. He was doing fine until the pressure started creeping in on him. And he couldn't sleep. And Dr. Murray broke his oath because of the conflict. I'm going to explain that to you. But if he had proper treatment, if Dr. Murray, they got a sleep doctor and proper treatment, he'd have been fine. Because AEG had this all planned out. They didn't just want the O2. They were thinking big, the biggest. They want to make money. They're a money-making machine. Mr. Phillips said, we had a 4-year plan. And there's all those emails. He denied it. I had to bring out the emails to show him. But now when it's convenient, he would have died, or they made it all up. 1.5 billion, they made it all up. This is their figures. There's Mr. Gongaware, 5547. It's going to be a multi-city tour. Paris Jackson. My daddy told me we're going around the world. So did everybody make that up? Or just me? Or just Mr. Irk? Or Mr. Phillips? Or Mr. Gongaware? Or Mr. Putnam? Because then I asked Miss Jory, did you, Miss Jory, tell the Los Angeles Police Department, you and Mr. Putnam, that London was just the beginning and there was going to be a world tour? Remember that? She says, absolutely not. And you're as sure as that of all your testimony, right? I never told that to the officer. So I brought him in, Detective Smith. And what did he say? Let's look at this. Let's start with the statement that you wrote down on the official Los Angeles Police Department form. Okay. Why don't you read it to us just about the world tour? Miss Jory and Mr. Putnam stated that this was only the beginning. MJ was to do a world tour that would last 2 to 3 years. Question, did you actually write that down? Yes, I did. So, were Miss Jory and Mr. Putnam not telling the truth to the Los Angeles Police Department in an official investigation? Or was Miss Jory not telling the truth when she came to court? The person has firms paying over $7 million in the last several years of AEG life. What motive would Detective Smith have to make that up? And why would he have it, not only in his official police report, but in his handwritten notes, which he saved? And usually they don't save it. He saved his handwritten notes and wrote exactly that down. They'll tell you what's convenient when it serves their purposes. And who's really bringing you the whole truth? Then I went on and said, did you scribe those notes in the report? Yes, I did. And tell us exactly what you transcribed. So first he wrote it on his notes, then he wrote it in the police report. Mr. Putnam and Miss Jory stated the European tour was just the beginning and that Michael Jackson was going to do a world tour that would last 2 to 3 years. So did we just make that up? Did we just make that up? Or was Mr. Putnam and Miss Jory making it up to the police department? $340 million, they're saying, in economic and non-economic damages. And you know one thing they didn't dispute in this case? He didn't say that was unreasonable. He gave the figures, and you know why? Because he knows in a wrongful death, for the evidence in this case, that's not unreasonable. They've attacked everything we've said in this case, but they know that's not unreasonable for the relationship. They know it's not unreasonable. They attacked everything except for 2 things. That and question 4, which I'll get to, they skipped it because they have to concede it. Everything else, from the beginning of the trial till today, still, with the objections, they're fighting. But they didn't fight that because they know that's a fair and just verdict for these 3 children and for Mrs. Jackson and for what they lost. Okay? And I said, I invite Mr. Putnam to get up here and give a different figure if he thinks this is unreasonable. Remember that? And certainly he said a lot of them. He said my name 50 times, and certainly he attacked me on a lot of things. But he didn't attack on this. $35 million in the past, $50 million in the future for the children, $35 million in the past for Ms. Jackson, and a similar number in the future. Okay? That's the figures, because they know that's reasonable, not contested. Now, the 5 questions. They said there's only, well, they said 5, but 4, but let me go through them for you quickly. It's hot up here. All right, let's take a water break. I need some Gatorade, extra electrolytes. All right. You know, in society, when you go buy something, everybody's bought something as is. You buy a car, as is. You could buy a house. You could buy something as is. And when you buy something, you can't go back and say, hey, there was this problem, there was that problem. And when AEG, they knew everything about Michael Jackson. They said, we didn't know. They knew. They knew what issues he had. They knew what his age was. Mr. Gongor had worked with him before. But now, when they come into court and they're supposed to pay full justice, they don't want to pay it. Hey, wait a minute. This guy was damaged. This guy, he was 50 years old. He couldn't do this. He took Demerol. He did this. Now, when it's time to make up full justice, they don't want it. They don't want to pay it. Why? Why is that? All right, let's talk about the questions. I know you've heard a lot about it. First, did AEG hire Dr. Murray? Man, I heard so much yesterday. Who paid Dr. Murray? Who chose Dr. Murray? Who was Dr. Murray's personal doctor, right? All that. Who asked for Dr. Murray? Is that question on the verdict form? Who chose Dr. Murray? Is that the question that you have to answer? Did I miss it? They hired Dr. Murray. Let me tell you how. Was he unfit? Yes. Did they know or should have known he was unfit and put others at risk of harm? Yes. Did they skip 4 because they conceded that? Substantial factor in causing the death? Yes. So I'm going to explain why to you. In this one, they don't even contest it. They conceded it, believe it or not. Because how could you say that Dr. Murray didn't harm Michael Jackson? It's a little tough, even though they fight everything else. Now, in considering whether, question 1, whether they hired or didn't hire, AEG or Michael or both could have hired Dr. Murray. Okay? Both. They keep saying, Michael chose him. Michael, it was his doctor. Michael, Prince gave him some $100 bills. You know why he gave him $100 bills? Because AEG was stiffing him and they weren't paying him. I'll show you that. But the question is, who hired him? And it can be Michael. They want to act like nothing happened. The train's going down the road. They're seeing these signs, and what do? They stop the train to see what's going on. They just put more coal in it and keep moving straight ahead. Okay? Right here. Number 2, incompetent. Conflict. They were pressuring Murray, and the pushback. Remember, when Kenny Ortega and Bugsy and these people are saying, hey, we got all these problems. We got all these problems. Do they go find out what's wrong with Michael Jackson? Remember Mr. Trell said that would be something good to delve into. Do they go do that? No. They never found out what was wrong because they didn't want to know. Knew or should have known. They didn't want to know. They didn't do anything to look into it. Would a reasonably careful person that's retaining and supervising a doctor, the patient of the doctor is doing terrible, would they ask the doctor what's wrong with the patient? Maybe? What do you think? But they should have never even been involved. Why are they getting involved in Michael Jackson's health care? Why are they drafting a written contract that Michael Jackson never saw or asked for? Because they want to control it all. They want control. Why would they do that? No one in the history has ever done that. Why would they do that? Think about it. Why would they draft a written contract for Michael Jackson's alleged doctor that he chose and selected? Why? Because they wanted to be able to control Dr. Murray and get whatever they wanted and to get Michael there because, number 1, they had no insurance if Michael didn't make it. And they could be out $35 million. Remember, they couldn't get sickness insurance. Cancellation insurance was only $17.5 million, and they were double that. And when you're in a money-making business, you're not in a money-losing business. And they were protecting, as Mr. Phillips says, they do, the financial interests of the corporation. That's why they wanted control of Dr. Murray. And that's why they wanted a written contract which raised the conflict. Now, number one, remember in March, the press conference. Mr. Phillips says, Michael's emotionally paralyzed, riddled with self-loathing. He's got to slap him, put him in the shower. He's worried. Then he says prescription, they talk about the drugs, overuse issues, insomnia, and pain management. But instead, there's a cardiologist to treat heart problems or ailments like the flu and the cold, which he doesn't have. So why would they do that? He wasn't competent. There's no question. Now, remember I said, Mr. AEG yesterday told you that Dr. Murray never knew that the contract could be canceled at any time till June 14th. Remember that? And Dr. Murray never knew. Well, on May 8th, Exhibit 177, it states...
Mr. Panish, 5 minutes before the break.
Thank you, Your Honor. AEG contract would not cover more than 1 month in lieu of notice if there's a curtailment or cessation of the tour. So how could they come here and tell you that he didn't know this to June 14th when he's getting an email on May 8th? How can they say that? Who's bringing you the truth? Is that the whole truth? Take a look at that. Exhibit 177. All the terms, the fees. Murray wants to get paid per our agreement. Gongor's trying to tell him what to do, but they didn't hire him and there's no agreement. Next. Question, or maybe this is a good time, Ron. This is a long one.
Come back at 11:15. $11:15.